Hello, all, and welcome to that Let the Fans Talk podcast.
Oh, for God's sakes, are we still doing this?
This is our weekly NFL podcast.
For real?
I'm that Southern Comfort, Ryan Freeman.
I'm Kien Ibanez.
Alright, so we're going to start off with some light news before we get into the fun stuff.
Oh, God.
So,
What is light to you, Ryan?
you'll see. Well, first off, the New Orleans Saints parted ways with their medical staff after they misdiagnosed an injury on their cornerback. And I am going to absolutely butcher the name on this. Man. Brio?
Let me take a look.
Their cornerback. Delvin, yeah, I'm gonna say that's Bro. It's Breaux.
Bro.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, they misdiagnosed an injury on him during the last game. I think they reported that it was a bruised bone he had in his leg. It's a broken leg.
Oh, God!
So they misdiagnosed that. There's a big difference between the out time for somebody that has, like, a bruised bone to somebody that has a broken leg.
No, I get you on that.
So instead of missing him for, like, maybe, like, a week at practice or so, now they're going to miss him for 4 to 6 weeks. So the New Orleans Saints have parted ways with that medical staff after that. Because I don't know about y'all if you've ever broken a bone or anything, but it's pretty easy to tell when you've broken a bone.
Yeah, no.
Speaking from experience, you know it's broke.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna go with this. Was he still walking on his broken leg?
No, I think they carted him off the field.
All right, because I was just gonna make a point. Because like when I broke my leg, I still I wasn't able to walk on it.
Yeah.
But I was limping through it.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, sometimes you get enough adrenaline to where
right.
you can
So,
still
but my
walk
thing
on
is
it a bit.
but that's okay. I get that the medical staff fucked up a little bit, but like if you don't have an X-ray right away, you're not gonna know.
Yeah.
Right away.
Well, when you watch the footage and you see his face, he's in pretty big agony.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm trying to give the medical staff the benefit of the doubt. Like I'm playing devil's advocate. I know I'm playing devil's advocate on this.
Yeah, you are.
But
the medical staff is a bunch of idiots.
I'm just saying.
I've had a bruised bone before, and I've had a broken bone before. The bruised bone did not have me writhing in agony like a broken bone did.
All right, no, I get you on that, Ryan. I'm just trying to say that were they like feeling up the leg or?
Yeah, that's what they do when there's an.
All right,
injury.
see, so there's the thing. Like it could have been a minuscule break, like that's what I mean. Like it could have been.
It's fractured.
Okay.
So it is a big break.
It was a big break, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
did it break or did it just fracture?
I think it's a fractured, I want to say, I forget what the video said. It was like a fractured fibula or something like that.
All right, so that's like, that, I mean, I broke my fibula.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's hard to tell. Like in all honesty, and I get that the New Orleans Saints staff fucked up, but coming from a medical background, in all honesty, it's hard to.
Well, the only reason they got fired is because they've apparently had issues misdiagnosing injuries before.
All
so
right.
This wasn't exactly like the first time.
All right,
they
I was
got
gonna
it
say
wrong.
if this was the first time, I'd be like, all right, but like now that you said that, fuck the New Orleans medical staff.
Yeah. Moving on to some more preseason news. Jay Cutler made his debut with the Miami Dolphins in his first preseason game against the Baltimore Ravens. Came out for 2 series. He went 3 for 6 for 24 yards, so not bad. He looked like he was in pretty good control of the offense, and he seemed pretty comfortable. So good start for Jay Cutler in the preseason.
This is the thing. We have Luis, who does my wrestling podcast with me. On Facebook was raving about Jay Cutler, and so was this other guy I know on Facebook raving about Jay Cutler. I'm like, y'all just don't understand what preseason means. Like,
I mean, like preseason, like they obviously the players like don't play nearly as fast as what they do in the regular season.
Right, because you don't want to fuck up anything if you don't have to. It's like they're basically paid scrimmages.
But the preseason is like a good gauge of where a player might be come the regular season. It's always a crapshoot. Some teams like do really good in the preseason and then do shit in the regular season. Other teams like do like horrible and then do really well regular seasons. Other teams do good in the preseason, continue to go on and do really good. So you just never know. But I mean, Jay Cutler coming into a new system, like, it is good to see that he did have like a decent outing for his first time out there playing for the Miami Dolphins.
Which is awesome to see. Like, I have hope for the cut.
Yeah. Like I've said before, a lot of people hate Cutler, but I was a Cutler fan. I actually owned a Jay Cutler jersey when he was still with the Broncos, because I actually followed Jay Cutler coming out of Vanderbilt. Yeah, Vanderbilt. That's where he came out of, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did play for the Broncos, didn't he?
Yeah, and Denver was his first team, and so I was a Cutler fan when he was coming into the NFL. So I really liked him. I followed his career.
I mean, I don't have any quarrel with him. I thought he was really cool on the league.
Yeah.
I thought his scenes with his like wife and his child were really funny. So I'm just, you know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he was easy fodder to make fun of during his tenure at the Chicago Bears.
It's the Bears.
As a Packers fan.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's the Bears though. Like.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with Cutler. I've always really enjoyed him as a quarterback.
Right.
So.
There's athletes like that all the time, though, that like seem like super laid back, and you're just like, I feel like this guy would be just chill to hang out with.
Yeah. But moving on from that, Jay Cutler, good on you. I'm excited to see where you go.
Woo.
But the Jacksonville Jaguars are now having a quarterback controversy after very two subpar outings in the preseason for Blake Bortles. The head coach now announced that the quarterback position is up for grabs on the Jaguars.
We had this conversation. We were talking about
and this is coming after Chad Henne has had two very strong performances in the preseason and looking like he could run up to that starter spot over Blake Bortles, which I think is going to happen. Blake Bortles hasn't exactly been like a solid quarterback or like the quarterback that they wanted him to be. Especially after, who's the quarterback? Blaine Gabbert, their other guy. So they've had two straight just misfires at quarterback for them.
What was I going to say about this? Has he been there long, and Bortles been there long, or is this...
He's been there, I'm going to say 3 years now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, that's on him then. Like, he's been there for 3 years. He hasn't shown what they needed, so I totally get where they are coming from with this.
I mean, I kind of feel bad for the dude. I think, I don't know. I don't like this whole new NFL philosophy of bringing in a quarterback and having them start right away. Quarterbacks used to be the position where you draft your guy, you know he's going to be your franchise guy, but you have him sit on the bench for the first, 2 to 3 years of his career and then have him start so you can kind of watch how the position is played. I think just throwing a guy in there and just being like, go play. If they don't perform well, I think that's a major hit to not only their confidence but the team's confidence and them, and that just snowballs into kind of these situations like you saw with Blaine Gabbert and like you're seeing with Blake Bortles. I mean, Robert Griffin III, he did have a very good first year as a rookie, but his seasons just after that just steadily declined. And I just think there's something to letting your quarterback sit for a little bit and watching the game.
I think it's because it's a leadership role. And
yeah.
For me, you just don't throw someone right in there. You know, I get that, some of these dudes come from college or whatever. RG3 came from college, and, he obviously had leadership skills, but the NFL is a total different creature.
Yeah, well,
than college ball is.
With college ball, they're at least all in the same age group. If you're throwing a rookie in there, they're only 21, 22 at the time, playing with guys that are 25, 27, 32, 35.
Right,
and stuff.
And so there's a different dynamic
that
you're going to have. So,
but, I mean, look at the success of like an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or guys that did get the chance to sit for at least a year. In Tom Brady's case, he sat for a year. But I think there's something to that, allowing them to sit and just watch for a little bit.
Because it gives them an idea of how they're, like, not every team is the same. So it gives them an idea of how their team is playing. That's where, like, you know what I mean? Instead of throwing a rookie right away, he has no idea how the team's played.
Yeah.
Like, this is his first year, and they're like, well, Dick's out, you better do it. And, like you said, like, it is nice to have that chance just to see how your team is playing. And then you're like, all right, I understand this now. Let's do this. Let's work on that.
Not only that, but I mean, like, I think spending that time on the bench and then using that time, like, in the locker room to, like, get to know the other players and stuff and work up, like, a rapport with them instead of just all of a sudden, like, bam, like, I'm the leader now. Like,
no one's going to want to listen.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. No one's going to want to listen to someone who doesn't know. Like, these dudes that he's playing with have been playing for, like, 2 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, they're not gonna listen. They're like, fuck you. We know what we're doing. You know what I mean? And it's things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand, like, letting people sit. Like, there have been quarterbacks that are successful as first-year starters. I mean, Jameis Winston's been doing really well down at Tampa Bay. Marcus Mariota's been doing really well at the Tennessee Titans. Andrew Luck's had, like, an up and down career so far, but overall he hasn't been, like, horrible or anything. So you could argue that he has been a successful starter. Cam Newton's another guy. He's probably the most successful out of all of them.
Oh yeah.
As a rookie starter. And has taken his team to a Super Bowl, which until I see, like, another guy that was a starter as a rookie do that, I'm still gonna hold my philosophy of you need to let them sit at least a year and just let them observe a little bit.
Yeah, but with that, there's always gonna be that, like, one person that shines like that. Like, it's not all the time. So I understand keeping that your philosophy.
Yeah.
Because there's other people who would argue that, well, look at this guy. I'm like, that's one dude. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, for the longest time, everybody thought that running quarterbacks were going to be the next big thing. That wasn't it.
That's funny.
Telling everybody that they were wrong about that.
It's become such a pass game now.
All right. So, I don't know if you've seen this, but the NFL and the NFLPA have been going at it.
What's the PA stand for?
Player Association.
Okay.
So the NFL Player Association basically has released, like, a bunch of information about, like, the Ezekiel Elliott case, basically discrediting his accuser, just releasing all this information of, like, texts that she sent out and emails and things like that, basically of her, like, planning this out, basically, and planning to blackmail Ezekiel Elliott with a sex tape and things like that. So the NFLPA releases all of this information. So the NFL, trying to save some face, releases a statement basically saying that the NFLPA is full of shit and that what they're trying to do is just classic, like, deflection of, like, make the accuser look bad so that their thing holds no water. But the NFLPA came back and they're just all like, the statements that we released are all 100% accurate and weren't made to, like, deface this person, but were made to bring, like, light to this case. So that's a whole situation.
So this is because of his 6-game suspension, right?
Yes.
All right, so when we talked about this last week, I made that point. I was like, it's fucked up to suspend someone for allegations.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked up. And now that this shit's coming out, it makes the situation even way more fucked up.
Yeah.
Because the Player Association is there to protect the players, right?
Yep. It's basically their union.
The players. I was assumed there because the Player Association was the one who did the strikes and shit like that, right? So my thing about this is that you have email, you have texts, you have emails, You have her threatening the player.
Yeah.
Not. It's the other
With
way
a sex
around.
tape.
Right,
She was trying to blackmail
It's the
Ezekiel
other way
Elliott.
around. Like, obviously, he's gonna look like the aggressor if you didn't look at the text she sent.
Yeah.
And shit like that. He's the aggressor because of it. And it's shit like this that has always bothered me. About, like, if you are famous, you have to deal with this shit. Just this utter bullshit of, like, someone being like, I'm gonna put you out there because you did this shit. I'm like, that's fucked up, first of all. Like,
well, I think this is just another situation. To put it bluntly, as Bill Burr once said, there's just a bunch of gold digging whores out there that are just looking for a way to make some money. And if you're famous, you kind of gotta watch out for that.
Right. So, but my thing is that the NFL is totally at fault at this.
Oh yeah,
there
totally.
Ain't no way they should be saving face with this.
I think the only reason the NFL fired back on this is because the NFL has fucked up on things like this in the past. So now they're just like, oh, here we go again. We totally screwed it up this time again. So.
Well, I take it like this. I can understand the caution the NFL has for abusive players. I do.
Well, yeah.
But for me,
no, to be fair to the NFL, it's very understandable on why you would want to punish people that are abusive,
right,
towards their girlfriend or their spouse.
That's what I mean. But, like, to me, this is not one of the times where, like, I think first of all, it was allegations, so the suspension he had was a little bit too much. A game or two, I get it.
Yeah.
I get that. 6 games for allegations? Nah, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Because it's just kind of like, it's like, I get that the NFL is very known for the amount of fucking aggression that their players have had.
Yeah, the NFL doesn't exactly have a good rep.
Like, hockey players don't beat their wives as much as the NFL does. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
You can't tell me I'm wrong. And they beat the shit out of dudes for a living. But, like, that's my thing. Like, I can get behind the NFL wanting to stop, like, you know, hey, don't fucking hit your wife or beat your kids. That's, I mean, closed doors, if anything. Like, don't let that shit come out. But I think this whole thing was fucked up to begin with when we were talking about the story last week.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't, like, if it wasn't allegations and if it was an actually, like, criminal, like, you know what I mean, he's, like, being charged for it. I get that. But because it was an allegation, you basically, if you're wrong, like you are now, you look like assholes that, like, suspended a dude for no apparent reason, but besides the fact that, hey, this has happened a lot in our company.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just, like, be like, no, don't do it.
My huge problem with it now is that they are trying to save face. What I would rather have seen the NFL do is just be like, yeah, we fucked up.
We apologize.
Like sorry, but, like, this issue has been, like, so prevalent in our league for such a long time now that we were just taking precautionary steps for this. Like, I would have been more okay with them saying that than just being like, no, like, don't listen to the player association, like, they're full of shit, basically.
That's fucked up, because the player association is there to protect your players.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, and I get that, like, you could use it to nefarious attempts, like, everyone would be like, nah, he didn't do that, but, like, I mean, they have solid evidence that this is her being a bitch, and, you know, like, this, it's solid evidence. Like, they have emails and like texts and shit, like threatening to send out a sex tape, which, I'm not gonna lie, he could countersue. Yeah. Like, if it comes out, he could definitely countersue her for money. Like, there's just a lot of things that, like, to me, that's just extremely fucked up about this, and I don't think that, like, he should never been suspended.
No.
They should have waited.
Yeah.
And so he still has his suspension, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, see, and that's fucked up too. Because now he's innocent, yet he still can't play 6 games.
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott is going to appeal the ruling, though.
Right.
But the NFL Player Association also spoke out against the person that is in charge of hearing the appeals, saying that he has demonstrated a lack of ability to be, what's the term they use for that?
Reliable?
Well, I guess you could say reliable, but
I don't know law, man. It's
yeah,
not
I
my
can't
forte.
think of the word for it, but basically he can't be like indifferent about the situation, so he can't judge
He has a
it.
bias.
Yeah.
Let me say he has a bias. Is it because
So there's
he's
an issue with that
seen
too.
so many wife beaters?
I have no idea. But they expressed problems with him too. So yeah, this whole thing's just turning into a shitstorm.
It is a
like I thought
shitstorm.
it was going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all the stories you got?
Yeah, that's all the news. So since it's the preseason, and preseason means not much to talk about, we're going to talk about the only thing that there is to talk about, which is more players this year choosing to kneel for the national anthem.
Oh, dude, do I really have to? Do I really have to do this? Like,
Yeah, we're going.
You and I are like, we're not on opposing sides, but we have differing opinions on this situation. All right. We will talk about this. We will be civil. I will be civil.
Now, okay, here's my thing about it. I have no issue with it.
Right.
Especially since there was something I read that somebody put out there that said the NFL players didn't start standing for the national anthem until 2009, like on a regular like game-to-game basis.
All right.
And then before that, they would only stand on like certain occasions and things like that.
Right, like Labor Day.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And I mean, like, I'm a big supporter of freedom of speech, so I'm going to defend their right to kneel for the national anthem. That is their right to do that. There's nothing in the NFL rules. If you can show me a spot in the NFL rules where it says you have to stand for the national anthem, I'll say otherwise. But until I'm shown that, I'm going to say they have every right to kneel during the national anthem. Now, on the flip side of that, being a proponent of free speech, I also have to defend the people getting angry at the players for kneeling during the national anthem.
That's
I get you. Yeah, it is also their right to get upset about that.
Right, and because it like we were talking, it is your free speech. It is your freedom to do this shit. Like,
yeah.
I don't have I have no problem with it. They're not all right. So here's my thing. Like, let's take what's happening now in Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the riots and shit like that, and all that. Like, that's not like those people don't understand how freedom of speech works. Because, like, they're like, I said this, and then they get punched in the face, and like, I don't understand why I got punched in the face. Because just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you have freedom of consequence.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with these players. They have the freedom of speech to kneel, but they have to accept the consequences. Even though the consequences is dipshits buying their fucking jerseys to burn them.
Yeah, I mean, when you get into the consequences, then you're starting to get into this whole Colin Kaepernick situation where a lot of people believe that he's getting blackballed by the NFL.
But I don't think...
Okay, I
don't think he is.
I think one part of it is him getting blackballed. But I think the other part of it is that he has just not performed that well the past couple of years.
Right, exactly. I don't think it's a combination of both.
It is a combination of both.
Because
on that token, the NFL is a privately owned and operated business.
Right.
It is owned by the owners of the league. So if you do something that they don't like and they don't want that to represent their league, then yeah, you do run the risk of never playing in this league again.
Right, depending, and like I don't mean to bring this up. Like this is y'all, you know what I mean. This is like, I love basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and like the closest thing I can understand to owners of the league being racist as fuck is Donald Sterling
Mm-hmm.
a couple years ago. You know what I mean? Like he literally had a video like saying like, all you guys are just my black players. Like I own you, and shit like that pisses me off. And I
Yeah.
can understand blackballing within the league. Like, no offense, like I like football, I like sports, but a lot of them are a lot of those teams are owned by racist old white dudes that haven't changed at all. Like, and this isn't me being political or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's the fucking truth. Like, you can't tell me it's not. Like, there's definitely some teams that are definitely not going to take him because of his stance on the whole Black Lives Matter and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, like,
see, and we get in this weird.
Yeah.
This is a weird topic.
it is a very weird topic, but it's something that's very
It is very
prevalent
It is
right
very
now.
prevalent, and my thing, like I said, my thing about this is that for me, they're not doing anything that is very really really bad.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Where like, all right, so when this all shit started happening last year, it started where high school football was playing, and my brother plays high school football, and these guys were talking about it. They were like, "I'm glad none of our fucking players are kneeling like that bitch ass Kaepernick." I'm like, how is that making him a bitch ass for kneeling? Like for me, if he was like just to me, technically, it wouldn't have been a disruption if people didn't like fucking pan the cameras. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only reason this is a disruption is to keep people just pan into it. And now that's all it has been ever since then, is that like they make sure to pan into those people kneeling.
Mhm.
Y'all don't want a reaction, don't show it.
No, they want a reaction.
That's the thing.
It's a
That's the
business.
thing.
It gets
It
them
gets them
views.
ratings.
It gets them ratings. It
It gets them
gets more
views.
people tuning in.
Right, and that's the thing that like that's the thing. Like there's that South Park episode where they're like J.J. Abrams needs to reboot the fucking national anthem, and no one gives a shit if you kneel.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, you only make it a thing if you allow it to be a thing.
Yeah.
If you don't allow this to get to you, then it isn't a thing. That's where I stand.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair on people who are doing it, there are higher percentage of them being African American,
Mhm.
and it speaks to them. Like, my thing about the whole Colin Kaepernick thing is that like all these people will call him a piece of shit because of the fact that he's rich and he's adopted,
Mhm.
but he's also making an effort to try to make change at
Yeah.
the same time this shit is happening. Like, if he was just doing this as a stint, I totally get it. Like, I would be a piece of trash. Fuck that guy. But the fact that he is going out there and trying to help kids is the thing that really bothers me about this whole scenario that we talk about. Is that like, oh, he's kneeling. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, look at what he's doing on the outside.
I mean, I really don't care about it. I don't get upset about it like other people do. Would I wish that they wouldn't do it? Yeah, because Jermichael Finley, a former Packers tight end, recently made a statement that sums up pretty much how I feel. Like, you're players. You're on the television to entertain us. Nobody wants to hear your political statement. You just need to play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel about it. Like, yes, being in this public perception does give you the ability to have a standpoint and speak on issues like that. But for people like me, my way of thinking is there are people that are much more educated on these issues than you are that do this as a career. If I want to hear about this, I'll go watch them speak about it, and I'll listen to them.
But then you I'm gonna do that counterpoint again. You overlay that idea that I feel like civil rights and all that thing. You should like, yes, you should be educated enough to know that like this is bad, this is good. But at the same time, if you like, Martin Luther King wasn't educated in it. Malcolm X wasn't educated in it. They were all part of a movement like that. That's where I stand. Where it's like,
Yeah,
but what do you consider a professional? Because then, like, if y'all want to talk about like that, you talk about people like Steve Bannon and people who run the alt-right. But then you have to talk about the fucking extreme leftists that do the same shit. Like, they're considered educated, but yet they spew dribble and shit.
Yeah, but with like a Martin Luther King and a Malcolm X, they chose to go down that way and be a public speaker and be a proponent for that.
All right.
In my way of viewing, you're an athlete. This is your job.
Okay.
If you want to go and do that public speaking thing, then yeah.
Go do it in a different medium.
Please go do it in a different medium, because I am like a lot of other people out there, whereas I tune into the NFL on Sundays to
sports.
Get away from all the political
Right.
bullshit that goes on
Right.
in our day-to-day life. I don't want to see this leaking into the sports, which is one of the few things where I can go to relax and just forget about everything that's going on and just have a normal freaking day for once.
But, like, that's where I stand, though, when, like, you look at college ball. Like, some college coaches have been telling their players, if they kneel, they're gonna get a suspension. Like, I don't think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
In my personal opinion, I don't think that's fair.
No, it's not fair.
Because
I mean, they should have every right to do it.
Right, and that's the thing. The main idea is this: like, you should have every right to do this. As long, like, my thing about the NFL, and you and I have had this conversation, is my problem with is that as the NFL doesn't really for a while, the NFL didn't really give a shit whether or not their players, like, have, like, you know, like, it's swept under the rug like a drug offense charge. Like, they get suspended a couple of games like that.
Yeah.
No one really brings it up. But, like, y'all want to bring up, like, these guys just basically doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like, besides not standing up.
Although I will say this about it, I'm definitely more okay with them kneeling this year, especially with all that's happening in Charlottesville right now.
Right. And and see, that's what I mean. Like, it's a weird scenario that we have to go through right now. Anyways, like, just in general, you're looking at it like, now that, like, you're right. Like, now we have to actually talk about the fact that there are still, like, neo-Nazis and, like, Confederates still out there. And, like, to me, that's, like, hella fucked up.
I mean, yeah, Charlottesville brought a lot of ugly things to the forefront.
Well,
like,
if
to
dude
put it,
ran over a group of anti-protest, like,
yeah,
and he planned that, and that's the thing that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, shit like that is fucked up to me, that, like, everyone, and then people defend him. That's the thing. I see people, like, on my Facebook defending dudes like this.
Yeah, you can't defend a murderer.
No, they're like, blah, 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 well, they were just in his way. Like, that shit is fucked up to me. That shit is fucked up. Anyone who who openly has the balls to say it's okay to take another person's life just because you're blocking the road, that's fucked up. Like, I get that they are a hindrance to you. I understand that. That's shitty of them to do. But the bigger man would take another route.
Yeah.
Pieces of shit decide to run people over.
Yeah, for sure.
That to me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
But no, it's fine. That's definitely my standpoint on it this year. Is with all of that going on, I am definitely more okay with them kneeling this year,
right,
than I was the previous year. I mean, last year I definitely paid way more attention to it last year, just because that's when it was like the big thing going on.
It blew up. Like,
yeah.
I thought it was like, shit, whatever, dude.
And that was definitely more of my feelings of just like, I just want to watch football.
Right.
And then it turned into all this political stuff going on. But I think this year they're just kneeling. They're not really speaking out about why they're kneeling or anything. They're just taking a knee.
Once again, it's just if you don't let, like, it's just people who are like, well, I'm bothered by this. I'm like, you can be bothered by it.
Yeah, you have every right to be bothered by
right.
it, but at the same time, you cannot claim to be a supporter of free speech and then demand that they stand for the national anthem.
Right. and that's the shit that bothers me. Just on any side of an argument, I don't agree with you. You're dumb.
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid. Like, you can not agree with them, but you can understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, like, I will admit, last year I was very heated about it, and I was definitely on the other side of, like, you need to stand for the national anthem. Just because I was looking at it from my own perspective, where I do have a lot of extended family that is in the military and has served. And yes, whether you like to admit it or not, the flag is a symbol of the military.
It is, and I agree with that, but like...
So that's why I was getting upset about it, but then I was looking at more from their side, where they're not really protesting against the military, they're just protesting against
police brutality
and what's happening inside of America that's just causing more racial divide.
Right.
Where, when I look at it from that standpoint, yes, I'm very much okay with them taking a knee.
Where I have friends who are in the military right now who hate it. Mm-hmm. They absolutely fucking hate it. Which is their right, because they're like, we are doing this for our country, yet y'all motherfuckers won't stand. That's fucked up. I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But then I have people who are out of the military who have made that same point you did about they're not protesting the military, they're protesting what's happening on the inside.
I think a lot of people that are upset by it are looking at it from the standpoint of, you need to stand for the military. They're not protesting the military. Take the military out of the equation for a second and look at what's just going on in America, which is very fucked up for the African American community, what's happening right now.
Right.
So, take the military out of the equation, and you should be completely fine with them taking a knee.
Like, walk in their shoes. That's my thing. Walk in their shoes. And my thing that has always bothered me, though, is that, like, it's fucked up to look at this as an analogy, but there's technically, like, yes, slavery no longer exists, but you're still watching these dudes for your entertainment. That's what they're getting paid for. That's the thing that's fucked up to me when you look at it like that. It's just like, take it in their shoes when people, like, they're kneeling because they don't want Confederate flags up. All right? Like, you don't have Confederate flags up at a football game, do you? No.
No, you have an American flag.
You have an American flag because that's the flag that's
getting into a whole another argument, which I guess which I have a lot of things to say about the Confederate flag, just being born in the South and things like that, and my family living in the South for such a long time, even before I was born. I can speak on that, but yeah.
The only reason I brought the Confederate flag up is because, like, that's the reason why they're kneeling now.
Yeah, I'll just give you a little tidbit of that information. I fucking hate the Confederate flag. We'll talk about that some other time, but...
We have a tangent for that. But, no, but, like, that's what I mean. Like, my end-all, be-all thing on this whole kneeling thing is that, like, they're not causing any trouble.
No, they're not. It's a peaceful protest.
Right. So that's where I, like, have no quarrel against them doing it.
Yeah.
And let's be fair, like we were talking about, like, sales on Kaepernick's jersey last year skyrocketed, and any other person who decided to fucking kneel, like, you basically gave them money in their pockets. Like that's the thing that has always bothered me. Y'all look at that videos of them like, fuck this guy, whoosh. I'm like,
the weird thing about that is there was plenty of other players that took a knee besides Kaepernick. But Kaepernick's the only one that got singled out of all those guys taking a knee.
Because he was the first.
Because he was the first, but he was also the most vocal.
Right.
Which is another reason why I think is a component of him getting blackballed, is because he was so vocal about it.
Well, because, yeah, no matter where he's going to go, he's going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to stop the dude. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're not going to stop the dude. But my thing about that is that, like, I get, we were talking about, like, they'll doing it like that, but, like, as shitty as it sounds, like, I know you don't like it, but, like, it is a medium to open up a conversation. Like, it wasn't like he...
Yeah.
My thing about it is, it wasn't like he was all like, fuck the cops, fuck these people.
See,
no, he was openly like, I am protesting this because I believe, in my opinion, that this is happening.
With it being a medium, I think the only problem that I have, if he would have done it on his own time, like held his own press conferences to talk about this, I would have been more fine with it. When you're talking about it like after the game and before the game and stuff, like during NFL interviews,
and you're getting paid. Yeah. Like I understand that a lot. Like that to me is very understandable.
Yeah, like I think being in that position, yeah, like it is a good platform to get that stuff out. But there are ways to get it out besides just through that medium that you're in.
Right.
It's very possible. Being in that celebrity status, they'll give you an interview whenever you want it.
Right.
You know you can get one.
On ESPN.
Yeah.
Or like, I get, and I understand where you're coming from with that. But, like, it is such a... last year was such a weird situation to walk upon.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm like, I don't really know what to say because, like, I agree... But, like, I don't want to open up this conversation that allows me to get bombarded with an argument that is null and void to me because everyone has a right to say what they say. You can get butthurt all you want, but it's America. Like, their consequences obviously happen to them.
See, I had a very interesting situation last year because I could find nobody to side with because... when I was thinking more about the military with this and I was still upset about the whole kneeling thing, I've never been that big of a fan of cops. I think everybody that knows me knows very well that I do not like cops a whole lot. So there's that. But then also I didn't like them kneeling. So
you tread on weird water, don't you?
Yeah.
That's where I don't hate police officers. I don't. I don't
hate police officers. I just think that they're given way too much authority.
Right, and that's where I stand. Like I stand with what Ice Cube has always said. There ain't no such thing as a bad cop. There's corrupted cops, but there are good cops. We just need more good cops out there to be vocal.
Yeah.
About shit like that. But like, when you look at it, I guess for me, when you look at it the way when they kneel, there has been a lot of fucked up shit that has happened to the African American community involving police brutality.
Yeah.
And like but like I hate when people bring this. Well, white guys get shot a lot more. I'm like, all right, let's take a minute here to take a look at this. Like, white dude with drugs, basically a slap on the wrist. Black dude with drugs, jail or prison time. Yeah, you know what I mean? When you look at it like that. And there are some counties that teach their cops to profile. To racial profile.
Yeah, it does exist.
Like, and that's where I stand. Like, they're speaking out on that shit. Like, we keep saying we're equal in this country, but yet they don't feel it. I don't think they've, like, I'm not black, but I don't think they've ever felt equal in this country. Like, if you look at it like that, like,
I mean, yeah, like, it's easy to throw out those type of statistics because when, I don't know, that's like a hard line to walk.
Right, no, and I get you.
Because when you do look at those statistics, yeah, it is kind of even.
Right.
But at the same time, you can never know how they felt.
Right.
Because you've never been in their shoes.
Right.
So you don't know what that's like.
You don't.
That's,
and like,
that's kind of hard territory to cross into.
But that's the thing that's shitty to me, though. Like yes, have some of these guys who have kneeled have come from inner cities, and so they understand why. Mm-hmm. Like, I get why y'all are mad about Colin Kaepernick fucking doing it because, like, well, he's never been in a bad situation. But other dudes have that were kneeling on this. They're like, we understand this. Like, look at it in their perspective. Yeah. That's the only thing I have.
I mean, you can say that, you can make the argument that, like, well, some of these guys have never had it that bad, and they're getting paid like tons of money to play a game and stuff like that, but they're still part of that community.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but y'all can't stand there and tell me that if this stuff was going on, like, in the white community and a white player decided to take a knee, that they'd be getting nearly this much flack.
No.
They wouldn't.
They'd be like, that's understandable. Let's go have our mayonnaise and missionary sex.
What do we want? Mayonnaise. What do we want? Missionary sex. What's too spicy? Mayonnaise.
But no, that's where I stand, though. It's just kind of like, as much as people like dog on me because like I am a minority, but I've lived such a really upper middle class life. Like they're like, well, you don't understand where they come from. I'm like, you're right. I don't know what has happened to them, but I understand that it's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, but before I go into this, let me clarify. I am not.
Thin line.
I am not comparing my situation to theirs because I can never understand what their situation is like. I've never been in that position, but I can say I know somewhat what it's like to get profiled because I have had a lot of problems growing up just because I do have that look where a lot of people look at me and they see me and they just go like, well, that kid's a punk.
Right.
Like, which, granted, fair to them, if you ever do see me, I do tend to have the appearance of I just look like a troublemaker half the time.
Right.
But I would get, my parents know about all this. Like, I get dirty looks all the time, and I get pulled over on Grand Avenue here all the time for nothing. And I mean, so, like, granted, I could never know what they're going through because mine is nothing compared to what they're going through. Was your
great-great-grandpappy lynched there? I'm totally kidding.
My great-great-grandpappy, we won't speak of him because he was a terrible human being, but...
No, okay, so I'm going to end with this story, and I understand how racial profiling works, and this is why I believe... I'm going to tell you why I agree with them, and I'm going to explain to it with the racial profiling story. I was 14... and one of 4 minorities in my high school.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what that's kind of what I was trying to say. Like, I can identify as being profiled as like a punk and a troublemaker. I cannot identify what it's like to be profiled by the color of your skin.
Right. So
I'll never know what that's like.
It's totally understandable, and this is where we're gonna end it with this story about why I agree with them. So, when I was 14, I got into, like, I smoked pot and shit like that. That's all I ever did. Like, the worst thing I did was smoke marijuana at the back of the pool or whatever. But, like, so what had happened, I remember this so vividly in my mind, is that, like, a kid told the police that he was stabbed by someone in his high school, and the only description they had was it was a person of color. I was one of 4 people of color. So, I got sent to the office where I sat there for 4 hours with the police officers explaining to them that I was not there during the scenario. That they're like, are you sure you didn't do it? They kept asking me that continuously because they had no evidence that would have linked me there. All they had was it was a minority that stabbed this kid. They're like, are you sure you didn't do it? I'm like, yes. And they were adamant for me to it finally took my guidance counselor to tell them, like, all right, so he pretty much didn't do it. 1 week later, we find out the kid stabbed himself for attention. That is why, to me, and anyone can disagree, because this is a free country, why I'm totally cool with them kneeling. Because it's shit like that still happens. I didn't get shot, obviously, but it's shit like that happens. You get the Trayvon Martins, you get all those kind of kids who were killed just because of their ethnicity and what they wore. That is overlooked. So I 100% agree why they're kneeling, and I get why they're kneeling.
Yeah, it's totally understandable why they're kneeling. Like, I fully support them in this. Like, they can do what they want. Like,
right. They're big boys.
Yeah, they're not doing anything offensive. Like, they're taking a knee.
Right.
It's not like they're flipping off the flag or something.
Right.
Guys.
They're like, fuck America. They're not doing that. They're just sitting there.
All they're trying to do is trying to make the country we live in a better place by bringing issues to light that have kind of, for a long time, kind of been swept under the rug and ignored.
It's still ignored.
That's all they're trying to do, is just bring this to light, that there is still messed up things that happen in this country, which I think, no matter like what political background or something you come from, I think everyone, if you take the time and look at it, you can honestly admit that yes, there are fucked up shit that happens in this country. No matter how much you love it, you have to admit that. That's all they're trying to say.
Right. So this has been Let the Fans Talk.
This has been Let the Fans Talk.
NPR edition.
We'll put a little political warning in there for you.
I'm gonna do that. Like, so the first 20 minutes is about kneeling, and then the last 30 minutes is about the first 20 minutes are about news, and the last 20 minutes or 30 minutes about kneeling. So, I'm Kien Ibanez.
I'm Right Guy.
Have a good day.